good.
Hello and welcome to Jrock's Babylon. I'm your host, Jason J. Rock Houston, and we got the members of the band Faithe, and of course, lead singer Amy Faithe, and guitarist Mike Araiza. Am I saying that name right, Mike?
Yeah, Araiza. Yeah.
Obviously, I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, FA is your guys' initials, is that correct?
That is correct, and it's actually pronounced the Fa, but
Wow,
yeah,
okay. I
but
wasn't sure. Yeah, yeah.
that's it. Yeah, Faith and Araiza.
Now that's why we do this. And it's a funny thing because one of the things I would love to ask people is what's the story behind the name? And it's in this case it's quite obvious what it is. How long have you guys been playing together? You want to share the story of how you first came to know one another and work together?
Yeah, so we have been together musically for about 2.5, 3 years. We met through a mutual musical friend of ours, kind of by accident, and became fast friends at first. We come from drastically different musical backgrounds,
Interesting.
but music at the core, of course. And then a little ways into us getting to know one another, we started to kind of experiment with our songwriting. And this thing just had a life of its own, and it took off and has evolved into something bigger and greater than I think either
Let
of
me
us.
ask you, Mike, do you think your mutual friend introduced you guys because he thought that you would have a chemistry of it, be that spark?
No, it was more honestly, it was like, hey, let's go get some pizza. And Amy was performing at the venue there, and I was sitting there having my uh, cheese pizza with Italian espresso, and I heard this voice from the back of the room, and being in music for most of my life and loving music is one of the most incredible things I had ever heard. And it
Oh, wow.
was captivating.
Yeah.
And it was important for me to, at that time, just to share, like from one artist to another, like, this is
So,
music.
Amy, what was the point when you and Mike really got together as far as like, hey, Mike, let's get together and see if we can create some beautiful music and write some songs together. What was that process like?
It was like a year into us meeting, so it was just kind of random. He was playing his guitar in the house when we were hanging out, and I just started singing along, and we're like, we should probably like just do something and just see what happens. And again, it's kind of
The cool thing to me about that,
faster.
that kind of story and kind of how the relationship is obviously developed is by the point you guys do start writing songs together, you've got a whole year of kind of your life or your experiences together to start writing, and the best songs are usually pages out of your life, if you will.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
definitely. We
Yeah.
definitely have that. Yeah.
And let me ask you, Amy, have you always been a singer? Did you start out playing other instruments, or were you always a singer?
Always a singer. I started at like 4 or 5 years old. I mean, it's all I've ever known. It was the love of my life since as far back as I can remember,
It
and
sounds
it's
like
never
something you
wavered,
always
only
enjoyed doing,
strengthened.
but going back as far as 4 years old, did you have people in your life telling you at that point, hey, keep it up, stick with that, you've got a great voice, or did that kind of develop throughout your life?
There's a funny story that kind of pinpoints that. We were in our caravan on a trip on the way home from wherever vacation, and there was some music on in the background or on the radio, and I started singing along, and like my mom and dad looked at each other and then like looked back, and they're like, "Is that Amy singing?"
Yeah.
And then I remember we got home from that trip, and my dad took me into the living room and of course got down on his knees because I was really small
Mm.
and was just trying to like coach me into creating some tone and sound through my voice, and was just like, wow, I think, there might be something here. So I have to give so much credit to the nurturement that both of my parents offered, which was it just that was the cherry on top. I always knew I loved it and I would have continued to do it, but we all know that not everyone has that type of support, from their family and
That's what I was
parents.
getting ready to say, that not always people have that support. So very fortunate when you do. Now, Mike, how old were you when you first picked up the guitar and decided, hey, this is what I want to try to do?
You know, music, uh, my whole life, honestly. Obviously, I don't recall, but my parents said when I was like around two, there was these wooden block toys, and I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
figured out like, the stem looking one. I got that, and I would walk around, the house just singing into it. And, when we were kids, Elvis was really big. And so I would, pantomime, if you would, to Elvis records. So I was always making something,
Yeah.
either, but I actually, the first instrument I played was actually the saxophone.
Oh,
Um, and that was just because, my parents didn't really like understand, it was hard for me to communicate, that what I wanted to do, my Kiss records
oh,
and
there you go.
AC/DC, and Van Halen and Led Zeppelin were in the house because of my older brother. So
Those are all
ultimately,
bands I grew up on, Mike. And you bring a Kiss, so I got to ask the obvious question: how big of a Ace Frehley fan were you? And do you mind all talking about like how his death affected you, if it did at all?
sure, absolutely. I mean, I still have the records. I still have Destroyer on the original pressing that my brother gifted me when I was little.
Oh, wow.
Um, you know, uh, because I was born in 1974, so I grew up with Star Wars and Kiss.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I mean, I play a Les Paul mostly. So to say that Ace Frehley and Kiss was an impression on my life is an understatement, just because
yeah,
um, I still have my Kiss Alive. I still have Love Gun. I still have the records ever since I was
yeah.
little
Yeah, I can
intact.
relate to that. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's interesting because I just bought the huge both of them, and it cost me a
yeah,
little bit of money, but I put it aside, and the live one and the Dress
yeah.
to Kill, and it's killer stuff. But what's funny is, you buy directly from a band. So I'm a type person. If you've got the money and you can afford it, treat yourself a little if you're able to. And the thing with that is, it's interesting because buy it through the band's official website. And I bring this up only because to let people know. Um, I was saying, oh man, it's too bad this isn't available on Amazon. But you know what they did? Like, it's cheaper to buy it through the band. If you buy like on Amazon, they marked it up like $600. I'm like, okay, that's crazy. Who's going to pay $600 for that? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But that's cool. And it's funny you bring up Elvis as an influence too, because Elvis was a little before my time. I mean, I was alive. I was alive in the '70s, so just Elvis is kind of last leg I was around for. But if you have appreciation for what Elvis did, he was very much kind of like Kiss, a great showman, put on a great show. Interesting, people. He's much more of a performer because what people don't realize is he was a great performer, but most of those Elvis songs were written by other people. But
Totally.
yet he
Yeah.
still was the ultimate showman, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Swagger,
Yeah,
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 swagger. But to your earlier question, I started playing guitar at 9 years old, and it never left my hands. But I knew that even when I was little, that's what I was here to do. I mean, I just knew.
and talk a little bit about that, Mike. Like once you get to that point, you're a teenager, you've been playing guitar for a few years. You get to the point where you probably realize, hey, this is kind of what I would like to do. How about your family? Did they encourage you to stick with it? Did they?
Yeah, my dad, my parents were different in age, so they had different perspective. My dad was born in 1933, so he grew up, during the Great Depression where there was, resources were really low, waiting in food lines. And so my dad found a lot of joy in music. And my dad contributed to the family when he was, in grade school I mean, he grew up in the city, so he would go down to this, to the downtown, and he would shine shoes. And the thing that would set him apart is he would snap his towel, and
Yeah,
he'd sing like the rock and roll of the time, in the 40s, and he would sing and snap the towel rhythmically to set himself apart. So he had a big celebration of music, and he always he never really judged what I was into. His thing was just enjoy it and have fun. My
yeah,
mom was more of she she wanted me to have balance, which
Okay,
I didn't
yeah,
have, like
yeah,
education and stuff like that. But both of them together, when the town I grew up in, when the people that were 10, 15 years older than me were telling my parents, this is real, you need to invest in him. Then they put me into private lessons, which was so they were very supportive on where they found the money and made the ways for me to have lessons every Saturday for several years.
oh, that's great. And of course, this is years before we had YouTube. I mean, and I bring that up only because a lot of times these guitar players just starting out today want to learn how to play. They go watch these YouTube videos for free. They got all kinds of instructional stuff you can find out there.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like that back in the day. So the fact that you could get like private lessons, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, with the record player trying to figure out how to play Cold Gin
Yeah,
or Highway to Hell or Back in Black or Photograph or
yeah.
Say What You Will from Fastway. I mean, everything was so big to me on the record player and just trying to figure out how to do it. So, more for me, ever since I was younger, when I first started playing guitar, the last thing I never really wanted to imitate or emulate. I wanted to burn my own trail. I
Yeah.
wanted to write. I
Yeah.
knew from the first time I picked up a guitar.
And I got to tell you both you guys that to be honest, I've never heard of um, the band until your publicist sent me a press release. I checked it out
Yeah.
and I was digging what I was hearing now. We'll get into a little more about your current single, obviously, which is for the song Devour. You got a cool video for that. Now, here's the interesting thing. That's the first song, obviously, that I checked out by the band, and I'm loving it right away. And I'm thinking, okay, it's got some melody to it, it's hard rock, it's got some metal, a little bit of everything that I love. Um, and then I went and listened to some of the older tunes that we can talk about too. Quite a quite a drastic change in the sound. I don't know if that's just kind of what you call progression, but I saw kind of both sides of the band, and I really dug that.
Cool.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Yeah, we never wanted to put ourselves in one particular box,
Yeah,
especially as we started writing. So we wrote from the heart and did what felt right and sounded good to our ears and our hearts. And that's where those tunes were all born from. And we've kind of continued our journey that way, just kind of being free and flexible to the channel and
yeah,
seeing what.
it's kind of like I urge people open your ears, open your minds. Like as much as I'm into hard rock and metal, I also have appreciation for everything from like Tom Petty and the Eagles because those are
Oh,
songs that have been played on the radio 40, 50 years, and there's a reason for that. They're well written songs. They got hooks. And that's kind of what I found with your music. They've all got great hooks. I mean, some of the other stuff I listen to, like Joyride. This is what I wrote down. Great commercial, radio friendly sounding song.
yeah.
Great hooks throughout the song. Just good time, a good time song.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For us, honestly, it's still that light is still burning very vividly and bright with saturation of, when we first started being little. Like this is, being an artist is this visceral like experience that's it's like it's I still honestly feel like that 8 or 9 year old kid that's like, oh man, this is a new adventure, let's go,
Yeah.
so it's
That's what creativity
yeah, we're
is.
never careful about like, what the strategy. It's like whatever the universe is so gracious to give us, for that moment to cultivate into a song, we're gonna roll with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another song I checked out is "Don't Blink." Again, this is what I wrote. I'm looking at
Yeah,
the paper what I wrote.
yeah,
A little more radio friendly, a little more poppy. Great hooks throughout the song. And again, I've always been the type person that, as much as I like dig metal and hard rock, I would much rather listen to something too that's a little kind of fun sounding, a little happy, a little uplifting. That's
yeah,
what, that's my main complaint. Like when grunge music started to like explode, was all these guys you're talking about, and I guess to a certain extent that was a kind of a new art form that was evolving, and this is the sound of that. But these guys at that time were writing songs about what depressed the hell out of them, bringing me down a little, but at the same time you got to appreciate for what it is. And this stuff, like I said, it's kind of poppy sounding. It's commercial stuff you hear on the radio, and that's why I think there's great potential for this band because you've proven already that you can, you can bang your head and rock pretty hard, and then you can write songs like Joyride and Don't Blink. they could get
Thank
Cool.
on the
you.
Thank
radio.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Is that something you guys set out to do? Like, or again, is it more of just a case of, hey, this is the way we write and this is what came out?
At the time, yeah, that's where we were. And again, we're just ever evolving. I think, something that we take a lot of pride in is that we can do so many different things that appeal to a lot of different audiences and
And I
demographics.
think that's where a lot of bands kind of make that mistake. They want to be a one trick pony. Oh no, we gotta, like Metallica. If you go back to the Black album, oh, they sold out. They they went pop or whatever. Um, they were still selling out the arenas and they were still making a ton of money. But people kind of have that attitude. But I think if you can do more than one thing, why not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think most artists in their hearts and in their minds are, I can't speak for everybody, but from the artists I've hung around and known for years, it's it, it, more times than not, the statement will be that we write the music that we want to hear
Yeah.
because it sounds very selfish, but it's what's vibing for us at that time. It's we understand it's a gift and we don't take it for granted, you know?
Yeah, and we're always changing. I mean, that's the one constant in life is as humans, we're always evolving and changing. So how can you expect your music to just stay stagnant in one
Yeah.
place, one sound for the entirety of your career? So there's a freedom in that I think is beautiful and maybe perhaps giving others permission to kind of step out of maybe a box that they've
Oh, sure.
intentionally put themselves in.
Right.
Not
And
that there's anything wrong with that, but it's something to think about.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you look at a band like Motley Crue. I heard Nikki Six talk over years, and he's the principal songwriter for a band. And like he says, like, okay, you go back to the very first album, Too Fast for Love. People think that we got a punk element to what we're doing, and then we come out with like Shout at the Devil. It's all black and red, and people are like, oh, they totally changed their look, they totally changed their sound. And then we do a total kind of 1970s glam album. If you look at Motley Crue, kind of every album they come out with, they've got a different look, a different, slightly different sound, but it kind of all fits together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's growth and it's reflection.
Mhm.
Both of those things are all one within the same. Back then the album cycles took a lot longer than
Yeah,
they do now. Now, you can do everything yourself in a house, which is amazing.
yeah.
Uh, you
And
can,
so like with Devour, again, I urge people to go on the YouTube and watch that video. That's a killer video. It looks like something you would have seen on MTV back. Now let's talk about where the video was filmed. It looked like maybe I don't know, Utah mountains, Arizona desert or something like that.
Yeah, so it's actually in Albuquerque, New Mexico,
Okay.
a selected spot specific for the
what you're
vision
looking for,
and
yeah.
for the song. So it was perfect. Honestly, we couldn't be more happy with the way that it turned out aesthetically, and then of course sonically, with the producer Chris
Yeah.
Collier, who
It looked
is
like very hot day. It looked like you were right in the heat of the sun.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It all melded together
Yeah, it was actually
beautifully.
not that hot that day. I think there was a high of like 45.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
The
Yeah.
the weather went south the next day. I don't know,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have gotten the light and everything that we did if we had done it any later because the weather really started to shift. So it was
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah, after we finished the song, we were uh, basically trying to figure out what would this video look like, and then we were thinking of like a dystopian,
Yeah.
Road
Mhm.
Warrior meets Star Wars
Yeah,
Tatooine
that's
type.
kind of the vibe I got. And the funny thing is, in watching the video, like somebody that's watching from perspective of just seeing the band for the first time is like, wow, where has this band been hiding? Wow, I can't wait to see what's next.
Wow,
Thank you.
thank you. Yeah,
There's a lot more to come,
yeah, oh
I'll tell you
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And so, what is the model for the band moving forward? I mean, are you guys working towards like an EP, a full length, or are you work kind of doing the modern way of like we'll release a song at a time and see where we go with it?
Yeah, right now we're doing singles. This was notably produced and engineered by Chris Collier, who's an incredible producer in his own right. And we're actually going back to the studio in February to do another song with him. We're hard working in the studio on post-production, excuse me, pre-production right now for that, and super excited to get back in the studio with him. So yeah, singles is the model for right now. Anything can happen and we're ready
Yeah.
for it. But that's the next
Yeah,
goal.
but we've already put on a few shows.
Yeah.
We've built them up. There has been a business plan. We did an acoustic show, a duo with us with a backup singer,
Oh,
and
wow.
then we did an acoustic show bringing in a rhythm section, and then we did a full electric show with a rhythm section. And it's a business strategy that we have, and it's also goal
Sure.
orientated. So we're going to continue that, and then look for the right opportunities
To go out on
to
tour.
go out on the road and open up for
I will just say, and we can talk off for
yeah.
record, I can message you guys later, but I do know somebody that, president of a label that if you were looking for that, I could maybe send you their way.
Oh,
Very
yeah,
nice.
thank you. We appreciate that.
Getting back to the Devour, that's a great choice for a song. I mean, again, for a band that people are just kind of discovering coming out of the gates. I mean, what a kick-ass song! What a kick, like Devour. I was watching the video, I was devouring everything. So perfect
That's,
title.
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're very proud of it.
Yeah, with the the director of the video was able to really transcend everything that was in our mind's eye.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, really awesome,
Yeah.
talented production.
And it's interesting listening to the three different songs. Devour is probably obviously the heaviest. It's kind of, as I would say, don't take this wrong. I say it's most kick ass in the sense of the heaviness, the aggression of the song,
Yeah.
but you can tell obviously it's the same singer. And anybody who's heard, I think, the older material, it all is great music. It's all kick ass, if you will. But I do think it's kind of like when you hear Devour, it's like, okay, this is the second coming of this band, or they're really they're really coming out strong. This is like
Yeah.
that next level. You're reaching that
Yeah.
Yeah.
plateau. Yeah.
Thank you. It's a path that we're continuing on. You know, in this iteration of who we are, it's something we're really resonant with. The sound, uh, Chris Collier is an incredible producer, and he's
Excellent to work with. Yeah.
How
excellent to
did you
work
guys
with. We
hook up
have a
with
lot
Chris?
to explore with.
If you don't mind me asking.
Say again?
How did you hook up with Chris? How did he come into orbit?
Well, I've known Chris for quite a while now, gosh, a long time, and I've worked with him before. Him and I have, dozens of sessions together in the studio, and all of the other, uh, necessity's the mother of all invention. So
Yeah,
when we
yeah.
started, we were like, let's put our strongest foot forward and let's produce ourselves. And so all the other tracks we did completely ourselves in our studio. And then as we moved into this year, we set a goal to do two more shows, which we accomplished, moving up to an electric show. And then we wanted to have another song that would really just, blast through
Hey,
towards the
mission
end of the year.
accomplished there with Devour.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so this was all in the plans of everything, to build things. And just as with any business, you
Yeah.
got to have a business plan
So let's
and
talk about the
strategy.
songwriting because songwriting is definitely very strong amongst you two. Um, and I'm assuming it depends on maybe the song, but how do you guys usually start writing? Is it usually start with the guitar riff from Mike, or do you write the lyrics first? What's your typical approach?
Oftentimes it starts with the guitar riff that just knocks both of our socks off, and then
Yeah,
like the melody just comes to me,
Yeah.
vocal melody and lyrics, of course, and it just evolves. It's just, I think for us, songwriting, and perhaps this way for most, is a very spiritual practice because really it's about allowing yourself to be that vessel and allowing the inspiration to come through. And that's very strong belief in
Yeah.
what it is that we do. We don't take it for face value in the flesh and blood. We're grateful to be these vehicles of inspiration of music to touch others. So, yeah, it often comes in that type of a fashion. And then before you know it, we've got an entire
Yeah.
song.
Yeah. Music is just this big energy that, you know, I guess, you could say that we're all stewards of as either for writing or participating in it. And it's evident when you get to those, a concert and you see everybody moving together and
Yeah.
it's just there's nothing
music has
better
a way of
than
bringing people together, and when you make that
yeah,
connection, and I imagine as the people writing the song, let's talk a little bit about interpretation. What I mean by that is you know specifically what the song's about. I'm sure you've encountered fans after shows or even sending you emails and stuff like that, telling you how much they love your music and maybe they thought it was about something entirely different. You're like, maybe because based on their own life experience, like, and you're like, wow, it's not what we wrote the song about, but wow, if you got that out of it, great,
That's the
Totally.
best part of being a songwriter is to see what it invigorates in someone else's creativity and
Yeah.
their own imagination.
Yeah, yeah,
That's one of the most rewarding things,
Yeah.
honestly, is to hear someone's interpretation of it because that means that it connected with them and it
yeah.
spoke to them and it stimulated their imagination and their feelings, and that's really what it's all
Yeah.
about.
It sounds
We
like you
reached
guys are
in.
really, like you said, this is a business. It's a plan. You're planning things out. Everything's kind of coming for tuition now. Um, you said a lot of the stuff, early stuff, was recorded like in your home studio. So when you entered the studio with Chris, did you immediately kind of feel what that different process was being in an actual real recording studio versus your home studio?
The studio is similar, essentially, the basics. It's very similar aesthetically, of course, not to undermine like his incredible
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah,
capabilities and the materials that he's working with. But I think probably, and I'll speak for maybe both of us, one of the greatest things was we got to walk in and just be the
Be
artist.
the artist, yeah.
And that was a breath of fresh air and very refreshing because we wear and wore all the hats in creating from start to finish on everything. So to be able to walk in and just totally put our faith in
Right.
Chris, which we had out the gate,
sure.
obviously, it was incredible. And we're like, we can't wait for that again.
Right. It's I would like it. I mean, so when we look at like some of the vernacular of things in the music business, like release, right? Like releasing a new single or releasing an album, when you have someone like Chris Collier, you can walk into the studio and release
Yeah.
all of your anxiousness,
Yeah,
all of your multitasking preconceptions, and you can just be what I was there to do, which is play the guitar, and she was there to sing. And it's as opposed to when we were producing ourselves, had to be the engineer, the producer, the engineer, the mastering engineer, the arranger, making decisions on tempos, making all these decisions. And so for that, it was honestly, it's just that's why we're going back.
Yeah, I was like, this is
Yeah,
we got to do this.
yeah.
so when you guys record, I was curious, like you're talking about like when you play live, you bring in other musicians, obviously, to play other instruments. I think it's cool that you guys are kind of core members. But so does that make it difficult, or do you kind of already know who you're going to have to come play in the live experience with you, or talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, we've spent some time in these last couple of years building up uh, guys or gals that we reach out to hire for the rhythm section and for backup vocals. So that was a very premeditated piece of our business
Part of the
plan
planning, yeah.
was getting people aligned and ready so that we can pick up the phone and say, "Hey, we've got this show or this tour. Can you jump on? Are you interested?" So we're ready to go for whatever we need,
Yeah.
when the opportunity calls.
To speak to that, there's several things about that part, and it it literally comes down to like who the person is and
Yeah,
how they treat people and how they who they are as a person will always outshine if they're an Olympian on their instruments because
yeah,
and understanding like it's not about what I think or what she thinks. It's about what is the audience
yeah, yeah,
experiencing and hold that, to the honor that we do. Because if it's one, 5, 10, or 15 people, you want to give them the best show ever.
sure.
And these days, with so many distractions, if someone's going to show up to a show for regardless of what your band is, what genre you're in. But if someone's going to take their time out of their day, as again, growing up as Kiss being one of my favorite
Yeah,
bands,
yeah,
that's the standard. Like it's got to be world class. You have to at least have that effort.
yeah,
Whatever world class is to your group, whatever that is, that should be the standard. That should be everybody should be on board with that. So we feel very fortunate that we have people we can call that have that type of.
Oh, that's cool. Now, let me ask you, Mike. I imagine you played with other guitar players over, your lifetime. But
Yeah,
um, when you set out to do this project, I mean, was there a reason that like you just wanted to handle all the guitar parts? I mean, again, it's a different type of project, and I guess that's a good question. What's the biggest difference for you, like being in a project like this, where you have a main songwriter, and so you handle all the guitar parts? Is it just for your songs, or what do you think would be the biggest difference between what you're doing now, as if you did bring in another guitar player, where you guys kind of trade off the?
sure. That's a great question. I've been very fortunate to be in situations with legendary guitarists before and have done, shared the stage with them. Even for that, I was the core songwriter.
Okay.
Um, so everything I've ever been a part of, I've always been the core songwriter. I have worked with other guitarists, and there's nothing more dangerous than two guitar players
Yeah, yeah,
walking
yeah, yeah,
from the
yeah.
stage
Yeah.
and just doing the dual guitar solos, Scorpions,
Yeah.
Judas Priest,
Maiden, they got
even
three now.
Kiss, right? Yeah. Um, so I think, moreover, for me, for what we're doing, it's about the melody,
Okay, makes
and
sense.
then, yeah, it's about the
Yeah,
song supporting what she has to.
yeah.
I
I
don't
love the
want,
fact
I
that
don't want to
Maiden,
get in the way of what she's doing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love the fact that Iron Maiden now has three guitar players, because
Sure.
one
Yeah.
guy came in to replace the other guy, and the other guy came back. They just didn't have a heart to fire him. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but I think what's cool about what you and Amy are doing is you guys are the core members. So, like you're saying, it makes it that much easier. You can get these other guys come and play live with you, or these other gals to take part in it. But you guys are main songwriters. Of course, it makes it that much easier, because I guess it's fair to say you and her are, you got an equal partnership here, and so you don't have to be in a band with four or five other guys where everybody gets a vote or say. It's kind of like, no, this is our project. We get to decide everything. Yeah,
Very intentional.
Very
yeah,
intentional. Yeah. And we do have a philosophy where we want the people that we hire and bring on, we want them to have a world-class experience, and we want them to have that moment be spectacular for them
sure.
as well. That's just who we are.
And so, Mike, I'll just talk a little bit about his guitar heroes, but let's talk about your influences, Amy, as far as who are the singers, when you were growing up, that really inspired you.
Yeah. The big balladeers were like the bread and butter for me and what really hooked me because of the emotional highs and lows and the dynamics. So vocally, that was like the eye on the prize for me. So like the Whitney Houstons,
Wow.
um, Barbara Streisand, even all the way back to the jazzy, the Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald, Anita Baker.
Wow, that surprises me. Just and again, because I'm just discovering you guys for the first time, but like listening to a song like Devour, I would have maybe expected more of like Ann Wilson or something like
Well,
that. But
Ann Wilson too, for sure.
no, no,
The
but
thing
don't get me
is
wrong. But
like
I think it's cool that somebody that can sing like such a heavy, aggressive song like Devour was influenced by all these other great singers that came before her.
yeah, no, I mean, all of us pull something from everyone. I mean, that's just life, right? Walking through
Yeah.
life, we're influenced by life.
Yeah,
But again, even in the way that our project came about, where we haven't put ourselves in a box, as a singer, I never decided that I was just going to do this or just going to do that. I mean, I've been all across the board from jazz, pop, musical theater, classical singing, R&B, and of course, rock as well. So, that's just that freedom that I just am
I mean,
committed to.
that's why I think you guys are going to be successful, because, like you said, there's no set box, that we're sticking ourselves in, and I love the fact that a band like this could be successful for, maybe one of the more popular tunes will be a hit on the radio, and then a song like Devour goes to metal radio and is number one or something. You never know. I mean, you have that possibility.
You.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It
And just like probably most people look at Mike and not, oh, he's inspired. He was influenced by Elvis, but again, I dig the fact, because I'm that type of guy, Mike. That I came into the world in 1971, to be specific, but I have so much appreciation for not just what I was around when I was growing up, but what came before.
Yeah.
of
Going
course.
all the way back to Chuck Berry, Elvis Presley, and John Lee Hooker and stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, my dad I mean, we didn't have a TV in my house.
Oh wow,
Uh,
yeah.
we had a record player, and so my dad was a mailman. So he worked Monday through Saturday. So Sundays was dad's day. And I used to my dad would listen to Fats Domino, you
Oh
know,
wow.
the
Ain't that a shame?
Coasters.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Coasters, just basically Motown, Krupa, all the big band stuff.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
so there was lots of boogie,
Boogie in
um,
the House, yeah.
right? And that's honestly why, like, I gravitated to the saxophone first. They were just, this is the first grade, like, we're not gonna
Yeah.
buy first
Well,
grade kid a
Mike, a lot of
guitar.
times people are surprised to learn the fact that the great late Ronnie James Dio started out as a trumpet player. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
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 Yeah. In fact, we were watching some Dio.
Yeah, just
Yeah, we
this
were watching
morning.
some Dio stuff this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, wow. Yeah, I always loved Ronnie. Stuff he did with Sabbath, oh man, especially Heaven and Hell, that was my all-time favorite. Yeah.
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 Well, Amy and Mike, it was great chatting with you. Like I said, I'm going to have an interview probably up in about an hour. I'll let you know once it's up. Feel free to share it. And I
Thank you.
hope you guys will come back when you have some more music to talk about. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you
thank you
for
so much
having
for
us
having
and
us.
wish you
Appreciate
all the
you
best.
and
Okay. And happy Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And we'll see you guys in the New Year. Okay.
sounds
You
great.
too.
Take care.
Bye
Goodbye.
bye.
Bye.